Hi everybody, this is the Baseball Head, the amazing, spectacular, terrific, the great one, the People's Champion. Your host, and welcome back to the Baseball Head 2. And hopefully you like this video and hit that subscribe button. So I've been watching this now for the last few months. This is the situation with Pete Rose. Obviously he's the all-time hit leader, one of the biggest names in the history of baseball, and he's not in the Hall of Fame, we know. I'm not going to get into the whole situation with the gambling. But he passed away this past offseason. I think it doesn't matter. He passed away last year, and the Reds are celebrating his life all year long. But what's interesting is that a few months back, President Donald Trump said that he was going to pardon him, and that Major League Baseball should put him in the Hall of Fame. And it's the disgrace that they've not done that since before he passed away. Now, Pete always said that they were going to put him in after he passed away. And this became a real embarrassment for baseball that they didn't do this. Now, when this declaration by Trump came out, the next day Major League Baseball put out a statement, said they were going to reinvestigate and take a second look at the whole situation with Pete. I have an update. Now, this update I didn't see because the press in the United States hate President Trump. I did not see this until just a few minutes ago. I have not read this article. This is from The Guardian. A lot of times you get what's going on in this country from other things and other places in the world. And The Guardian is one of those. Headline, MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred to rule on Pete Rose ban at the Trump meeting. Now, I hadn't heard about this. And this article came out 3 days ago. So this has been sitting around, and I didn't know about this. This came out on April 28th. MLB Commissioner Rob Manfred said he discussed Pete Rose with Donald Trump at a meeting 2 weeks ago. And he plans to rule on a request to end the sport's permanent ban of the career hits leader, who died in September. Speaking Monday at a meeting of the Associated Press sports editors, Manfred said he and Trump have discussed several issues, including Manfred's concerns over how Trump's immigration policy could impact players from Cuba, Venezuela, and other countries. Well, if they're not illegal, there won't be a problem. And if they're not in a gang, it shouldn't be a problem. Manfred is considering a petition to have Rose posthumously removed from MLB's permanent ineligible list. The petition was filed in January by Jeffrey Lenkoff, a Southern California lawyer who represented Pete prior to the 17 times All-Stars death at age 83. Quote, I met with President Trump 2 weeks ago, I guess now, and one of the topics was Pete Rose. But I'm not going beyond that, Manfred said. He said what he said publicly. I'm not going to go beyond that in terms of what the back and forth was. Trump posted on social media in February that he plans to issue a complete pardon to Pete Rose. Trump posted on Truth Social that Rose shouldn't have been gambling on baseball, but only bet on his team winning. It's unclear what a presidential pardon might include. Trump did not specifically mention a tax case in which Rose pleaded guilty in 1990 to 2 counts of filing false tax returns and served a 5-month prison sentence. The president said he would sign a pardon for Rose over the next few weeks, but has not addressed the matter since. Rose had 4,256 hits and also holds records for games played and plate appearances. He was the 1973 NL MVP and played on 3 World Series winners, 2 with the Reds, the Big Red Machine, and the 1980 Phillies. And numerous World Series, like at least 6 or 7, I believe. An investigation from MLB by lawyer John M. Dowd found Rose placed numerous bets on the Reds to win from 1985 to 87 while playing for them and managing the team. Rose agreed with MLB on a permanent ban in 1989. Lenkoff is seeking Rose's reinstatement so that he can be considered for the Hall of Fame. On the rule adopted by the Hall's Board of Directors in 1991, anyone on the permanently ineligible list can't be considered for election to the Hall. Rose applied for reinstatement in 1997 and met with Commissioner Bud Selig in November 2002. But Selig never ruled on Rose's request. Manfred in 2015 denied his request for reinstatement. Manfred said reinstating Rose was now was a little more complicated than it might appear on the outside. I did not commit to a time except that I want to get it done promptly as soon as we get the work done. I'm not going to give this the pocket veto. I will in fact issue a ruling. Now, I can go on and on about this, but the thing is that Major League Baseball screwed this up because they could have put Pete in. They could have said, "Look, you can't participate in, you can't participate in anything in the minor leagues. You can't be in the dugout. You can't be hanging out with the players. You can't instruct. You can't manage. You can't do anything else. You can't have a job in baseball." But they screwed this up because they should have had him in the Hall of Fame. And this was all screwed up in the very, very beginning. And that should have been told to him. That whatever, and he should have said to them, it's like, look, I'll take a lifetime ban, but I don't want to not get in the Hall of Fame. How can we work this out? So in a lot of ways, both sides clearly were wrong in that regard. The fans love Pete Rose. The people that saw him love him. And that's what it comes down to. Major League Baseball has a major problem with PR, particularly this commissioner. This commissioner is not popular by the fans. The fans do not like this guy. And it goes back to the whole situation with the Houston Astros. Houston Astros were allowed to cheat, blatantly cheat, and nobody got punished. Pete Rose did something that's not allowed in baseball, gambling. But he was a great player. He never cheated when he played. His time as a player should not have been punished because of what he did as a manager. That's what it comes down to, in my opinion. And like I said, Major League Baseball has a major public relations problem because you can't have that situation, and you can't have a situation where you have Shohei Ohtani, who had an interpreter that was stealing millions of dollars, and supposedly the player didn't know anything about it. Nothing happened to him. This is Ohtani. The interpreter had supposedly the book thrown at him. We'll see how long he gets sent off to jail. I don't think he's going to get much jail time. Okay? When he gets sentenced, he's not going to get a lot of time because he took a hit for his friend. You were very suspicious of that situation. So you can't turn a blind eye to Ohtani and then throw the book at Pete Rose. Also, Pete was gambling not on baseball or anything like that when he was playing. He did a lot on other teams, other sports, on horses. He was a known guy to go to the racetrack. Okay, so he was always around all these unsavory people when he played. Major League Baseball knew about this. They knew about all the people he was hanging out with. They said nothing. For one basic reason, they said nothing, because Pete was making them money. The second Pete stopped making them money, was just a manager, they do the book at him. And that's something nobody talks about. They host. I like to see him get in, so stop talking about it, let him get in. The only sad part is he won't get a chance to celebrate it. And he said that was going to happen. It's funny, they did this big documentary last year on HBO where they talked about him and his life, and he looked pretty good. He looked pretty good when he was talking. He didn't lose his mind. He didn't lose his marbles, as they say. So he was still with it, 81 years old. And he said, they're going to put me in when I'm gone. And that's what's going to happen. And you ask, well, what's the connection with Donald Trump? Well, Pete was always in the casinos, okay? He was always in the casinos, either gambling or doing card signings or making appearances. And Donald Trump owned a casino. And he was part of that hospitality, industry when he had his casino in Atlantic City. By the way, I did stay at one of his casinos. It was the best many years ago. But this is a disgrace that this has gone on for this long. This tells you how much baseball, particularly the owners, particularly the upper executive management, hate this guy. Because he kind of represents the hypocrisy. You can't have all this sort of gambling going on in Major League Baseball with the apps and all these different YouTube channels promoting this. I don't think anyone's talking about Pete. other than myself. And that's been talking about since he passed away. I did a video on him passing away. I did a video about him with President Trump. Now I'm talking about him here. Has anybody talked about it? And talked about the hypocrisy of what's going on currently in baseball, where they're doing the gambling apps and all this other stuff? And all this, about all these different, I don't even know much about gambling. So, and it's wrong. I think gambling is wrong. I think gambling is it ruins families, it ruins people's lives. And it ruined Pete's life. Certainly. The thing he loved the most, which is baseball, and his life. That ruined his life. He was a broken man after that, let's be honest. So, anyway, you let me know what you think about this video. You won't get this anywhere else. Like I said, no other channel will talk about this in any kind of important way. So, that's why you need to subscribe to this little channel, the Baseball Hut 2. I do little different things here than I do on the Baseball Hut. The Baseball Hut's all about the Mets. But on this channel, it's a little bit of this and a little bit of that. But this, I think, is important. So, thank you for watching. Have a good day. Hit the subscribe button, and I'll see you later.